Hi everyone, it's Mr. Terrio here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about cooking and making roasted sweet potatoes. So let's get going on this thing if it'll work. Present. Sorry, I'm using Loom screencasting. It's my first time using it, so hopefully it'll work okay. We'll check it out. Okay. So yesterday I made roasted sweet potatoes with a miso maple glaze. It was delicious, and I think you would love it a lot. And so here we go. Here's how to cook Mr. Terrio style. All right. So first of all, I had a whole bag of sweet potatoes from Trader Joe's that I'd bought before this whole little break, and um, and so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to clean off all the sweet potatoes. Also, clean and sanitize your cooking surface and your cutting surface. So I have a wood cutting board. Wood cutting boards are better than plastic cutting boards for keeping bacteria at bay. And so I'm going to take my sweet potatoes and I'm going to use a potato peeler and peel them all. And let's go to the next slide. Okay, and then here's the other thing. So I peeled them all. You want to make them all the same size because you don't want some to burn or some to be underdone. So you want to get them as close. They don't have to be exactly the same size, but you want them as close to the same size as possible. If you'll notice, I try not to make them touching because you don't want them to steam. You want them to roast. And then I also put a piece of parchment paper down, and that way they don't stick to the pan or anything like that. And my pan's really old; it's kind of thrashed, but I just use parchment paper all the time, and I don't worry about it too much. I mean, I wash it, but it's fine. Okay, and then so once you have everything all peeled up and stuff like that, then I had and I preheated the oven to 405. I like roasting vegetables around 400, 405, right around there. Kind of works perfect for me. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about the roasting technique in a sec. Okay, normally my trick to preparing vegetables for roasting is I put all the veggies in a Ziploc plastic bag and then I pour some oil and I put all the seasoning in there and I rub them all inside of the bag. But I didn't really want to do that because I'm trying to save on like supplies and materials. So I just did it on the pan itself. So there's olive oil. You could put any kind of seasoning you want on it. I did the 21 seasoning. I also put some fresh rosemary on it. I'm also going to roast some lemon on here and squirt the lemon on it after it's all done. So olive oil, different roasting. Definitely, at the very least, try and get some salt and some pepper on these. Okay, and then my other trick for roasting is I don't want them to burn, so I tent them for like the first 20 to 25 minutes, right around there. And then after 20 to 25 minutes, I take the foil off and then I roast them the rest of the way, and that way they get that nice coloration on them. You want that broiling, the Maillard effect to happen, right? Where the food cooks enough where it turns into sugars. Okay, and then I'm going to make a maple miso glaze. And so I'm going to use some miso paste. I used like 2 tablespoons of miso paste, about, I don't know, a quarter cup of maple syrup. I used toasted sesame oil, maybe about 2 teaspoons, a little bit of soy sauce, like a teaspoon, some garlic powder, some chipotle. I didn't have any sriracha. I would have used sriracha, so I used chipotle. It turned out great. Maybe 2 tablespoons of butter. I used a little ginger. You could use fresh ginger if you have it. Um, and then just a little bit of water, tiny bit of water, not a lot. You can see some of the more ingredients right there. Um, and then you just kind of boil it in the pan for a while. Just boom, let that go until it gets like enough where it will coat a spoon. And then when you're done, so I roasted these for about 45, 50 minutes, right around there. just take your fork, just stick them in the potatoes to see if they're done. They were done. They were delicious. And then when I was done with this, I just topped each one with a little spoonful of the maple miso glaze. And I could have eaten the whole thing myself, but I shared it with my family, and it was really good. And you can see I squeezed the lemon on there, and that was great too. Okay, so hopefully you can try something like this out. This would work with regular potatoes, but I think the glaze works really well with the sweet potatoes. It's like fantastic. Perfect. All right. See y'all.